Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Liz, and for today I have some Dollar Tree blank DIYs, some pieces that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree as blanks and turn them into beautiful Christmas decor. So without further ado, let's jump in. For this DIY, we are going to pick up some tumbling tower pieces. Now you are only going to need about half of one of the packages that I have, and we are going to make a really pretty Christmas tree. So the first thing you're going to do is count out all your pieces. Now for my base, I wanted it 6 pieces long. And then for the sides, I wanted mine to be doubled. So instead of just one row of tumbling tower blocks, I'm going to do 2 on each side. So I counted out 16 tumbling tower pieces per side. And you are going to make 4 rows, if that makes sense. But you'll see what I'm doing as we go. So I'm going to start out by making the base first. I'm going to use my wood glue super glue. You can get this from the Dollar Tree, and I actually love this glue. It works really well, especially for projects like this. You're going to start by gluing 3 sets of 2, and then you'll glue all those together. Now to make your sides, you are going to add some glue halfway on one tumbling tower block, and then add your tumbling tower block to it, again about halfway on each tumbling tower piece. You are going to do this until you have 8 pieces, and you are going to make 4 of these. So just add your glue, add your tumbling tower piece, until you have 8 pieces that have all been made. And then when I added my other rows, I just glued them right on top of this so that I made sure that all 4 of my rows were all even. Now that I have all 4 of my rows, I'm going to glue 2 of them together and then glue the other 2 together. So you will have 2 sides for your Christmas tree. Once those are all dry, I'm going to take some paint and paint these green. I believe this is the Americana Aloe paint. I really love this one. It's got a really pretty olive tone to it. And I did 1 coat for all of my pieces. And you want to make sure that you're getting the front and the back. For this, make sure to paint the entire thing because you will be able to see the entire thing. You can probably skip the bottom of the base if you want. I did. But make sure that you are getting all of the side pieces painted. Now to assemble your tree, you're going to add some hot glue onto the side of one of your bases. And then I took both of my pieces and lined them up to make sure that my tree would be nice and lined up the way that it should be. And then once that's got a little bit of hold to it, you can add some glue to the other side of the base. And then add your other tree side and lean them up next to each other so that they meet at the top. Once that holds in place, then you can add some glue to the top of your tree and then just lean the other side up against it so that it is nice and secure. I added some extra glue to the bottom of the base where the base meets the side of the tree just to give it some extra stability. Now to add a bow to it, I took this ribbon that I got from Walmart and I tied it in a really simple bow just by taking 2 loops and tying them together like you would your shoes. You can play with the ends, make them as big or as small as you want, as fluffy as you want. And then I left a pretty decently long tail on each side. I wanted my tails to kind of drape down the sides of the tree. And then I also dovetailed the ends. And then you're just going to hot glue this right to the top middle part of your tree. And then I also hot glued the tails to the side. I wanted the tails to be a little bit puffed up. So I added some hot glue, puffed up the ribbon so that there was a little, you can see like a little poof in there. And then curled the ends, and that's all you have to do for this DIY. I think this is so cute. You could make this as thin or as thick as you wanted. You could continue to add rows onto the sides. You just have to expand your base and then obviously add more rows. And it's just so much fun, especially for being tumbling tower pieces that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and you just turned it into a beautiful piece of decor. For this DIY, we are going to take 2 bamboo cutting boards that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I think these are so much fun to do blank DIYs with. I've used them in the past before and made really pretty pieces. But the first thing I'm going to do is just paint each piece black, just using some black paint. And I gave both of them 1 coat. Again, you could paint the back of this. I decided not to because I don't ever really finish the back parts of my pieces, but by all means, if you want to, you go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to take my wood glue super glue and glue one piece sideways on top of the other piece. We are making a snowman hat. So you just want to make sure to try to get that as even as you can. I'm going to be using this Couture transfer that I have with this really pretty kind of snowflake pattern on it. Now, because this is a porous surface, you want to make sure that you're using some wax on top of it before you use your transfer. This is just my personal opinion. A lot of people don't, but I find that when I use it, I don't get as much bleeding, and then if I don't use it, my piece tends to bleed a lot more, especially if you are doing this like on wood and things like that, things that can bleed and suck in that paint. So I like to add a layer of the wax that you get from Couture, and then I'm going to go and cut out the transfer piece that I want. And I like doing this because it doesn't cut out the transfer backing and you can still lay it down attached to all of the other pieces. And then I am going to just lay down my transfer right on top of my piece, make sure that it's nice and stuck down there. And then using a little squeegee and the white chalk paste, I'm just going to squeegee the entire thing white. Basically, these are stencils that you can reuse, and I personally like using them a lot, especially when it comes to, like, if you were going to use your Cricut instead and do a stencil, you're not having to design and weed, and this is just really easy. Plus, they're reusable, so it makes it fun. And then I just added more to the top part of the hat, and then I found this ribbon from Walmart, I believe. I loved the velvety feel that it had, and I thought this would make a really cute ribbon on his hat. So I'm going to take my hot glue, glue the top part of the ribbon down, and then I added a line of glue to the bottom, flipped it over, and hot glued it to secure it to the back. Now I needed some ribbon to fill that gap at the top between the two pieces, so I grabbed some burlap ribbon that I had from burlapfabrics.com, and I hot glued this around the back as well. And again, my back is not finished. You can definitely finish your backing, but since it's going to be up against a wall, nobody's really going to see it, so it's not too big of a deal for me. I wanted to add some embellishments to my hat, so I cut a piece of greenery and hot glued it to the corner of his hat. And then I also grabbed a silver bell from the Dollar Tree and hot glued that right to the middle where that greenery is. And then I was still feeling like it was missing something, so I took some of this ribbon that we added to his hat and tied a simple bow, just tying 2 loops together. And I hot glued that to the top portion right below the bell. And I feel like that just finished it off really well. That's it for this DIY. I love making snowman hats and little snowman pieces here and there. This is perfect for Christmas and for winter. You can keep it up all winter long and display him with your winter decor. For this DIY, I grabbed 3 of these blank ornament wood cutouts from the Dollar Tree. I wanted to make a big stand with these, and I thought this would be really fun. So I took 2 of those ornaments and I painted them red. I just gave it 1 coat of red paint. And then for the 3rd ornament, I am going to paint this green. I did this olivey kind of aloe-y color from Americana, and then I felt like it was a little too olivey, so I did end up taking a little bit more of a kind of deeper bluish green and added that right on top of it to give it a little bit more of a deeper green color. Now once those are all dry, I'm going to take a round sponge brush, dip it into that red paint, and on our green ornament, I am going to do red polka dots all over. Now what I like to do when I'm using a sponge brush is push down and twist rather than just dabbing up and down. I feel like this gives more full coverage for a polka dot rather than an up and down dabbing motion. So just push your sponge brush onto your piece and then twist your sponge brush. And I just filled the entire thing with polka dots. You could do as much or as little polka dots as you wanted. For the red ornaments, I am going to make a little block on each of these. So I'm going to start by drawing a line, or I guess I should say a little stripe. I guess it's more of a stripe than a block, but I am going to draw a line at the top and a line towards the bottom, try to get those as even as I can, and then take that same green we used for the other ornament and fill in that stripe. And I did these on both of my red ornaments. I tried to get them as even as I possibly could. One ended up being a little bit larger than the other, but it wasn't too big of a deal. For each of my ornaments, I took some yellow paint that I had. I wanted the top of those ornaments to look like they had a gold cap on the very top. So I just painted all three of those tops with that. And then I am going to make some paint a little bit lighter than that original paint that we had. So I'm going to take that paint, mix it with a light cream color, mix it together so that I had a lighter green. I'm going to take that round sponge brush again, and we are going to do some more polka dots on both of our other two ornaments. And then I wanted to do some highlighting and adding some different colors. So I took that lighter green that we made again, and I am going to outline our little stripes that we have. I did this on the top and the bottom of both of those ornaments. And then I'm going to take some white paint and do little highlights on each of our little bubbles that we have. So just add a little tiny bit of paint on a detailed paintbrush and add little highlights. You could do it all in the same spot, but I decided to kind of mix up where I put those highlights. And then I added little highlights all over the ornament, just around the edge. Next, I'm going to take some black paint and add little embellishments to it as well, some details. I just went around the entire edge, adding some lines all along that edge. I feel like this is a fun way to do it. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I feel like it just adds another fun animated layer to the piece. Now I'll take my other ornament, the red one, and I will do similar designs. So taking that black paint and going around the entire thing. You could make this one continuous line if you wanted, but I didn't mind having little breaks in my lines. And I just went around the entire thing plus the top. And then I went in with my white paint again, added some highlights to all of those little bubbles, and then added highlights around the entire piece. Next, I'm going to glue all three of my ornaments together. I didn't want them to be in like a complete straight line. I wanted them to kind of be tilted from each other a little bit. So I did glue them down a little bit tilted, I guess you could say. And I took some ribbon, two different kinds. I took this red buffalo check one. This is going to go on my mostly green ornament, and just tied those together again like you would your shoelaces. Glued this to the top of my ornament and then did the exact same thing with a different ribbon, and I used that same ribbon for my two red ornaments. And that's all you got to do for this one. You could stick this in a corner in your home, you could put it next to your Christmas tree. I like having this large piece of decor that can go up against my side table for my entryway. I think it's really fun, and I actually think it matches my Grinch decor really well. If you haven't seen my Grinch video, I will link that down below. For this DIY, we are going to take this picture frame that you can get from the Dollar Tree. This is going to be super simple and super easy. So if you're wanting a really easy craft, this one is perfect for you. So you're just going to take that backing out, take that picture out from the picture frame, and then we are going to grab my 6x6 paper pad that you can find on my website, moorevinyldecals.com. It has a ton of fun Christmas prints inside. I love using scrapbook paper with my crafts so much. It's just so much fun because I can't draw this kind of stuff, so why not use some scrapbook paper? I'm just going to lay the backing on top, trace it out, and cut the square out using some scissors, and then I am going to put this back inside of the picture frame, laying it face down, and then adding the back to the picture frame. Now I found these little stickers from the Dollar Tree, these wooden snowflake stickers. I'm going to take one and just stick it right in the middle. You could change this out for whatever you wanted, the little Christmas present or a tree, and that's all you got to do for this one. Like I said, super easy, super simple, and I think that it adds just a fun pop of Christmas decor. You could also paint the frame if you wanted red or green, or you could use some gold rub and buff to give it an extra touch, but I think just using the natural wood looks really good too. For this DIY, I'm going to take this square blank that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I love that I have been able to find these square ones. They've had the round ones out for a really long time, but I thought that the square ones are perfect too. I also use these with my laser machines, which is really fun because they cut out really perfectly. So if you need some scrap wood for a laser, don't pass up the Dollar Tree with their wood stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some Mod Podge to the entire thing, and I'm going to let the Mod Podge completely dry. And then I'm going to grab the 2025 calendar, the farmer's market one that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to use the Christmas picture that says Joy to the World. I thought this was so cute. I'm going to use my little X-Acto knife to cut the page out and get a clean line at the bottom. I'm going to stick my picture to the blank and try to get that as even as I can. And then using my Cricut mini heat press, I am going to use some parchment paper on top, the heat press on top of that, and that is going to reactivate that dried Mod Podge. This is my preferred way to do it because then I'm not working with wet Mod Podge and the paper gets all crinkly. I can never get the paper to be uncrinkled when I'm using wet Mod Podge, so that is just the way I like to do it. You'll just go over the entire thing and that'll get it to stick to your piece. Then I cut off a couple pieces of some greenery, added that to the top, and then I'm going to make a jute twine bow just by wrapping it around my fingers several times and then cutting off an extra piece to tie around the middle of that bow. Then I will glue that bow to the middle of my greenery, and that's all you got to do for this one. This is super, super easy, really fun to do with all sorts of different things. You could take Christmas napkins and add it onto this blank from the Dollar Tree. You could take scrapbook paper, really anything that you wanted to do this Mod Podge method with, and then add some greenery and a bow, and you have a really pretty Christmas print. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed these Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs using Dollar Tree blanks. Let me know which project was your favorite in the comments down below. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!